I, of course, was very familiar with our offices in St George's Building, but when I first joined the office, we were in temporary headquarters in Lane Crawford House. St George's Building was being rebuilt, and I remember being on a veranda with just a chair, and I said to my father, perhaps I should have a desk as well. And he thought about it and he said, yes, maybe you should. So they built a little office in the veranda, and I was then given a desk and a chair and learnt the ropes from there.
Of course, I saw Hong Kong in 1951, which was much different from 55, because in 1951, it was full of refugees. It was a very poor-looking place. The only building of any side was the Hong Kong and Shanghai Bank, which was opened in 1935. The rest were not more than 3 stories high on the waterfront.
Central was a very different place to where it is now. The Star Ferry actually arrived at St George's Building, and now it's reclaimed much further out in the harbour. Everything was in slow motion as compared to now. You would leave the office at probably 12:30 for lunch and return at maybe 2 or 2:15. You would leave the office at 5 o'clock punctually, and everyone dressed in white linen suits. There was a sense of calm, not the hurried life that the world has today and that Hong Kong shows for 24 hours of 24.
I was able, because I'd saved a little bit of money, I was able to have a car, a second-hand car, and I was able to park it, if you can believe it, in what is now Statue Square, free of charge in 1955 and 56. We came down fairly early and I parked the car in where the statues are in front of the bank, and of course that didn't last very long, but it was a great privilege.
The Hong Kong and Shanghai Bank wasn't built in 1935. It was the first air-conditioned building in East Asia, and all the rest you take where the Mandarin Hotel is, that was the old Queen's building. There was the old Princess building. Both of those were old-type colonial buildings, and you say, how do we keep cool? They had the verandas, they had the high ceilings, they had through draft, big wide open windows and that sort of thing.
The Star Ferry was in front of the Mandarin, and when it was put a little further back opposite to the City Hall practically, people were complaining they had to walk a lot to go to the Star Ferry. We could even have harbor race, swimming competitions from Hong Kong to Kowloon, the swimming teams and so on. The Navy ships used to come in and you could see large vessels of not only military destroyers and aircraft carriers, but also liners would come in.
初初我係喺九龍住嘅，咁我哋返工咧我喺土瓜灣就要搭5號車就去到天星碼頭，然後過海行埋嚟嘅。
I lived with my parents in Kadoorie Avenue and would cross by Star Ferry to the office every day. And that crossing took approximately 10 minutes. You would drive down, which was some 10 to 15 minutes, from Kadoorie Avenue to the Star Ferry. And so if you were very lucky, you could reach St George's Building from Kadoorie Avenue in about 30 minutes, but generally it was more like 45 minutes to an hour. And that was the same going back. So that you added to your day. But as I say, everything was far more leisurely, so it didn't really matter.
After the war, Hong Kong often used to be called a cultural desert. And it is true that we didn't have cultural venues, the University of Hong Kong main hall has a very good stage. We didn't have the City Hall, we didn't have the Cultural Centre, we didn't have any of the museums, and it's completely changed. We don't play cricket on the old cricket ground anymore. Hong Kong Club is still going. There used to be an annex where they kept all the ladies.
Really?
But they pulled that down. They allow ladies in now.
香港公園我睇過戲啦，我做廣北行做，所以我同呢度都好有緣分。廣北行就我做咗10幾年，即係你知即係意外啦。嗰時希頓酒店噶嘛，即係而家長江中心希頓酒店啊嘛。我69年入政府嗰陣，夜晚我個上司新聞官叫我落去希頓買2件西餅請我食咁樣咧。嗰陣時係過百人錢，我貴到話話聲啦。因為嗰陣時我人工係432蚊做文員，喺街啲餐廳買件蛋糕就2毫子，希頓咧就過百，貴9倍。哇！我哋貴到話話聲，咁我老細話請我食咁冇法啦咁樣，買2件，哇咁貴，猛話貴到講極都講唔完。嗰陣時啊，港方下邊咧就搭報紙嘅，港方下面好大㗎嘛。
While we were in school at KG5, there were a number of days on which school ended early because of riots. And it was important for the kids to be able to get back to the Hong Kong side and get home and not get caught up on in those riots. I do remember very clearly being with my father on Pedder Street on a Saturday afternoon, waiting for our car to pick us up at what is now the landmark side of Pedder Street. And down Wyndham Street came literally thousands of Chinese men, most of them wearing white shirts, not tucked in but outside, with black or gray pants, very common for sort of working class look at that time, waving little red Malbooks and yelling communist slogans. And I'd never seen anything quite like it, you know, something that has stuck with me always.
There was a post office just before you got to the Star Ferry in the old days. Downstairs, of course, people were taking goods and things in, so sometimes there wasn't that much room downstairs, so you'd pop upstairs and sit upstairs. It was lovely upstairs. You learnt all the Chinese slang. Because all the office girls in their beautiful cheongsams, and they were in beautiful cheongsams, and they would be sitting there and they'd be all chatting to each other, and you know, whatever the shops they were working in, or the banks or the offices where they were working, and it was great fun.
因為當時咧有啲馬姐啊，山頂上有啲馬姐嗰啲工人咧，喺中環街市、中央街市買啲雞翻嚟，個籠裝住咧，我哋揾啲報紙俾佢墊住個籮底，唔好整污糟喺車上。喺87年嗰個禁咗，係我嚟嗰陣都見有人逼啲雞上車啊，活雞。